guys, this is the Casual Wrestling Community Show. I am one of your hosts, the Notorious NerdyD, alongside the newest and permanent co-host of the show, Milwaukee Mike. We are about to drop our takes for the Vince McMahon scandal, Monday Night Raw's fallout. But first, Mike, Rumble this weekend was a success, and I don't think it was perfect. You call it a success?
Yeah, I would say so.
I don't think it was perfect. It was one to remember, but Mike, I wanted to start off with giving our top 3 takeaways from the Royal Rumble. We'll alternate, and I think we'll have some overlap, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But I'll start off. Okay. I want to start off by saying I think it's become more and more clear to me, and I know that I've seen people jumping on the Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins thing, but it's become more and more apparent to me The Rock and Roman Reigns was a smokescreen. It was Triple H's way of throwing us off the trail of what he really wants to do. The video game says finish the story. This is the year of finishing the story. I think TKO knows that it's time to get behind somebody like Cody Rhodes who can present a squeaky clean image of what they want, WWE to be in the public eye, especially after all of this Vince McMahon stuff. I think it's more important now than ever that, they kind of take control and get rid of the remnants of Vince McMahon. And I think that, we all love Roman Reigns, but that is a holdover of the Vince McMahon regime. And I could see TKO starting to get involved in the creative a little more, not necessarily making day-to-day decisions, but stepping in and saying something like, it's time to move towards Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
And so
I could agree.
I think it was a smokescreen. I don't think we're seeing The Rock and Roman at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen either. I think once it got down to Cody and CM Punk, I think I kind of knew, okay, I think Cody's going to win this again. It's kind of hard for me to imagine that CM Punk just shows up in November and he's just automatically pushed to win the Royal Rumble. I think the plans were in place and they followed the plan.
Yeah.
One takeaway that I'm taking away from it, and this is kind of maybe nitpicking a little bit, I'm not sure that we need to be going into these big stadiums anymore for the Royal Rumble. I think we need to go back down to the arenas because I don't know if you picked up on this, but it seemed like the energy was kind of off in the arena.
So that was a baseball field, right?
That was in Tampa. And,
okay.
I'm thinking that maybe you need to keep this to more wrestling eccentric cities and going back into the arenas where it's more intimate. You can get more of a crowd reaction. Because I think when you get to these big stadiums, you start kind of filling in spots with maybe people that aren't really necessarily wrestling fans. And that's kind of getting in the way of kind of bringing the atmosphere up. And I think that's one of my takeaways from this weekend.
That's interesting. I don't think that I picked up on that this time. And maybe it's because of the energy that was in my room, with everybody screaming that was in the room. But I agree 100%. I don't know why the goal of all these wrestling companies is to book the biggest stadium you can. That doesn't make sense to me because AEW typically, when they fill an arena, you can feel the energy. Now, filling up the arena is the fucking problem, but when they do, you can feel the energy. I agree. The Royal Rumble probably would be better suited for the basketball-sized arenas, and I'm with you, the energy. I didn't notice that, though. I didn't pick up on that. The second thing I picked up on was that I think it's time for the IWC and all the AEW haters to admit they were wrong about CM Punk. That CM Punk came into the Royal Rumble and he did what most don't do. He came in and he sold for Cody Rhodes. He came in and he put Cody Rhodes over, and he didn't complain and he didn't bitch and he didn't cry, and he did a very good job. Like psychologically, the storytelling in that match worked. I think me and you may have picked up on the fact that they're probably not having CM Punk win the Royal Rumble, but I imagine there were a lot of people. I mean, I saw the prediction sheet from Corey's WrestleMania predictions. A lot of people had CM Punk winning.
Yeah.
So when it came down to those two guys, I think there's a lot of people who thought CM Punk had a shot. But I think, everybody wants to talk shit about CM Punk all the time, but you have to give him a little bit of credit. He has done exactly what he said he was going to do. He came into WWE. He is putting guys over. He's done his work. He cut his promo Monday where he looked upset, but still, it wasn't a me thing. It really feels like he's turning into a company guy. And some people may hate that, but that's what he had to do. That was the only way he could survive in WWE right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think I got to eat some crow here. I think after the men's Rumble match, I was a little critical of CM Punk because I thought his performance was a little off. But now you fast forward to now, knowing that he wrestled the last 15 minutes with a torn tricep. Yeah. That changes my mind a little bit, but I totally agree with you. I think he's come in, he's done exactly what he said he wanted to do, and respect to that. I was somebody that was an advocate for him coming in, and I think, like I said, when it got down to him and Cody, I think it was kind of clear. All right, we're gonna finish the story. My second takeaway was I'm leaning towards the women's Rumble match being slightly better than the men's this year. I will give props to both men's and women's Rumbles. I think we kept legends out, which I was a big fan of. I think you need to utilize the roster, but I think there's also room for improvement where there's a lot of fluff. A lot of people didn't know the entrance songs to certain superstars that were coming out, and that gets a little, that could have contributed to the energy being low, which I noticed,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the women's side was slightly better than the men's this year.
So I think I'll disagree on that one because I feel like the women started strong and ended strong. But I do feel like there was a 10-minute gap in the middle of that thing where I thought, ooh, this thing is losing energy fast. With the men, I think there was enough kind of side storylines going on, and that tends to be men's wrestling, right? They get all the time during the week, so there's enough going on. I do think that the energy is, I always feel like the energy is better at the beginning of the night than the end of the night. When you do 3 hours, that's just the nature of the beast. I think that everybody's excited for the first hour of the show when the women are doing the Royal Rumble, and by the time you get to that fourth match, it's exhausting. I mean, you've had to sit through an exciting women's Rumble. You sat through Roman Reigns and love or hate that match. It's still a pretty high energy match. You have half the people wanting him to lose, half the people want him to win. And then you got a good Logan Paul and KO match. And so by the time you get to the men, I mean, I almost would say, I think in my eyes, I view them almost equally. They both had things I didn't like and things I liked, and they both had enough downtime that they weren't perfect. But I will agree that the Women's Royal Rumble was one of the best Women's Royal Rumble that I've seen maybe ever.
Yeah.
And I think that goes a long way to say, the men was pretty standard. I think when you look back and we look back at that Men's Royal Rumble, it wasn't as unpredictable as we thought.
Sure.
It ended up kind of going as a lot of people thought it would. So I'm with you on that. My last takeaway is I don't know that in any Royal Rumble I've ever felt coming out of it that there were two stars that broke out more than Jade Cargill and Braun Breaker. I absolutely think that both of those came in and left a lasting impression on me, and for two different, very specific reasons. I know that the talk on Jade Cargill is, she was in there for 10 minutes and she got beat up on. But to me, it was an impressive 10 minutes. That's exactly what Jade Cargill has to be. She doesn't have to put on these marathon matches. And here's what I'm going to say. I think that she proved to me, put her in a tag team with Bianca Belair right now. Where you can just have Bianca do the brunt and the work of the match. Jade can come in on a hot tag and light the crowd up, and it gives her a whole nother year to get better. She's going to get better. In the WWE system, she will get continuously better, and she already, her look is phenomenal. Nobody, seeing her stand next to even Bianca Belair, her look is phenomenal. And as for Braun Breaker, holy shit. I've watched Braun Breaker. I've never been overly impressed, but when he got in there and shot across the ring like a fucking bullet and hit those spears, he's more than ready. He's more than ready for a big opportunity. I think with CM Punk falling out, you got to start talking about throwing him in. I don't love the idea of putting Seth Rollins in the ring with Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn, which is what I'm seeing a lot of people say. Put Braun Breaker in there with Seth Rollins. Let's see what happens. Put Braun Breaker in there with Gunther. Let's see what happens. He's that ready. To me, he's that ready.
No, I agree. And going off of that Jake Cargill comment, I know we've got a topic later in the show that you kind of already hit on that I was going to bring up. But, she's got the look. The presentation was just pinpoint. You couldn't ask for a better debut. Just come in, do a little bit of work, get your name out, call it a day. In terms of Braun Breaker, I've been waiting for him to get called up for the last 6 months. So this is just, something that I've been looking forward to. And I think he's got a lot to build on the main roster. My last point, and this is maybe going to rub people the wrong way a little bit, but Nia Jax, man, she had a reputation, right, of she hurts women, she's not good to work with. This run that she's been on since she came back has been very impressive. She's created a lot of good heat for herself. I think she's become a good heel, even going off of what she did last night with Rhea. I'm not saying that I'm a complete fan of her, but I can't hate on her for what she did, especially in the Rumble, where she comes out, she kind of proves her dominance a little bit. Sure, she got eliminated by Jade, which I think that was also a good decision. Mm-hmm. But I'm very impressed with Nia lately, and I'm interested to see the direction that they're going with her attacking Rhea last night. That was one of my last takeaways.
Do you think that's a Triple H thing? Because that's what I take from it. It's booking with her, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
She's a monster. You have to book her like a monster, or she absolutely doesn't make sense.
Absolutely. And you're seeing her going into matches with people that make sense now. Before, it was like just throwing her with Shayna Baszler and Tay, like it just, none of it made sense.
There's purpose.
Now it's starting to make sense.
There's purpose. I agree with you 100%. This is the best that Nia Jax has looked in maybe since she's been in WWE altogether. All right, let's do a quick rundown of the top 5 news articles I found this week. First question for you, Mike. How big of a deal is the Vince McMahon scandal that just dropped last week? And do you think Triple H will survive this train wreck?
So I get the backlash that's coming towards WWE. I get it because it's company involved. But I think a lot of people are forgetting that he is no longer really around. Maybe, he has remnants still kind of around. Maybe he's got a couple, people in the back that are kind of trying to keep his spirit alive, I guess you want to say. But I think we have to understand that Triple H is running this thing now. So is TKO. And they nipped this in the bud real quick. They dropped statements as soon as the things came out online the other day. And a lot of people are hating on Triple H for his press conference. And I'm not necessarily a fan of it because what are you expecting him to say? They're like, oh, well, look at what Tony Khan did with his act. Okay, that's a completely different company. This is a head and shoulders above what AEW ever will be. So he's got lawyers, and they're telling him to not probably say anything. So, there's going to be backlash. I get it, but what's going to happen is they're just going to shut WWE down. That's never going to happen.
I agree. I'm going to piggyback on what you say because I agree. What is Triple H supposed to do in that situation? That press conference is not a press conference. It is an extension of the Royal Rumble. It is meant to give kind of a cap to the show. It's 15 minutes for Bayley and Cody Rhodes to talk. It's not to address legal matters. Here's the second thing. Triple H isn't even on the board of directors for this company. His statement really doesn't even matter. I get that he's portraying, CEO of the company as far as television and things like that, but he's just head of creative. And as far as if he knew something that was going on, what is he supposed to do? Just give up his job? Just go, look, I can't do this. The problem here is Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon has so many skeletons probably hidden in his closet, and the person I blame for all this is Vince. He should have stayed the fuck home. Why did you force your way back in? If you knew all of these things existed and you know people are out to get you, he should have just stayed home. He should have left well enough alone and not came back. And I think, TKO probably learned an important lesson that they let him wiggle himself back into the door. And he just, Vince is always going to have some involvement in WWE. It doesn't matter if his name's on any piece of paperwork. He has an involvement. It's an ego thing for Vince to have to be front and center. And so shame on him for that. But they survive it. I think a week from now, WWE, look, Pat McAfee, they're what they're doing right now is they're throwing every positive headline they can so that this news cycle will just flip over. And the Vince McMahon stuff will happen outside of what's going on in WWE.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, second question I have for you, Mike. Is there a chance that the Royal Rumble was the last time we see CM Punk as a professional wrestler in WWE?
No, I don't think so. I think this is going to be a surgery, 4 to 6 months, probably come back, get a storyline for SummerSlam, and just keep the thing rolling. I think truly the goal is to get him to WrestleMania and to main event at some point. Now, does it necessarily mean that he's promised a main event at WrestleMania? Things change on the fly, but I don't think this is the last match with him in WWE. I can't imagine that you brought this guy back with so much anticipation and for just an injury that is recoverable to just derail all plans. They push him back a little bit, but I think you're still going to see CM Punk versus Seth Rollins and CM Punk versus McIntyre at some point. So, no, I don't think it's his last match.
All right, so here's my problem. This is my problem, right? Athletes have a clock. Mm-hmm. And when it strikes midnight, sometimes, whether they like it or not, it's time to shut it down. I look back at the last 2 years of CM Punk, and he's a guy who, in age, it's not that alarming, but in wrestling years, it's a little alarming. I look back at the last 2 years and I see injury. Every time it's leading up to kind of him being relied on for a big spot. And so I question at a certain point, does WWE have to look at him and go, I don't know that we can rely on you. And it's not a negative thing, but look, this is the first time you got back in the ring in any kind of real capacity, and boom, you're injured. And I don't think it's unfair to say that CM Punk is stiff. Like, you can see he's stiff. He doesn't move well. And a guy like that tends to get injured more often than not, because I think CM Punk still tries to live in that world where he is still the best in the world. And so I don't know if it's midnight for CM Punk. I don't know if it's time to hang it up, but I do believe it's 11:59. And if he does come back, like you said, I think it's got to be for one last push. It's got to be, get him ready. He could do something at SummerSlam. He's got to have more of a Brock Lesnar schedule. They cannot rely. I don't think CM Punk can be a full-time wrestler. I just don't think his body can handle that. So you have him come back, do something at SummerSlam. You have him take a little time off, maybe something at Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and then I'm with you. Give him, he deserves a main event. And not this night one bullshit. Give him night two. If Cody Rhodes is still champion, do Cody Rhodes CM Punk night 2 WrestleMania, have him close out the show, and let him end that chapter, because CM Punk has a whole second career in WWE that people don't talk about. He can choose to be an announcer. He can choose to be a coach. He can choose to be a manager. He will succeed at any one of those things. But I do think it's time that we get realistic and understand that, like, maybe we overexpected CM Punk with him being a full-time wrestler.
Sure. I can see that.
Third story I got here, Mike. Should we take Cody Rhodes considering Seth Rollins' offer for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania seriously?
Absolutely not. This is total smoke screen. Do I think that this was the original plan, the whole shoot last night with him and Seth Rollins? No. I think CM Punk's injury had a lot to do with that. But this listen, man. You don't win back-to-back Royal Rumbles. to go from Roman Reigns to Seth Rollins. It's Roman Reigns Part 2, finishing the story. I mean, that's what it is. Intriguing last night, but no, it's smokescreen.
Zero chance. It's absolutely zero chance. This was. So first off, you don't have Cody in the Rumble and immediately look up at Roman Reigns and call his shot. For him then to come down and basically, get back-ended by Seth Rollins. Here's more important, though, I think. I believe that segment, while intriguing, I think it hurt the World Heavyweight Championship when you look at it from the standpoint. You had Seth Rollins come out and basically plead with Cody Rhodes, help me make this title more relevant. Because he can say whatever he wants, but we as wrestling fans know Roman Reigns is the guy. And Seth can do anything and say anything he wants, but trying to convince the WWE Universe that the WWE Universal Undisputed title is not the title and Roman is not the guy, that's insane. Like that, now you're insulting our intelligence. And so I think while that segment, I understand what they were doing, I don't see the benefit long run. What? So you get to play up a couple weeks of Cody being confused. But once again, supposedly we were supposed to believe that the whole thing for Cody was the story. And you're going to tell me that all it took was Seth Rollins' one conversation and you're questioning that? I wish he would have shut it down immediately. The whole goal here is to build a clear picture for WrestleMania. And I think the worst thing you can do is start muddying that up in the next couple of weeks. Let Roman... So I saw a lot of people in the Discord complaining about Cody's been kind of off doing other things all year. And while I don't disagree with that, this is the time where he needs to go address Roman and give him, the 60 days to, I'm coming for you.
Oh, yeah, I agree. 100%.
Fourth story here, Mike. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited should we be that Pat McAfee is back as part of WWE?
I mean, come on, man. He's perfect for the WWE. I was excited to see him at the Royal Rumble. That was a surprise. But I think once they started making these announcer or commentary changes, I think we kind of knew, like, okay, there's a chance that it could be McAfee. I think the Netflix deal has a lot to do with it. I think they're really trying to make sure they go into this Netflix deal just full guns blazing. These new graphic packages that they have, these new camera angles that they have, I think it's all geared towards this Netflix deal. And having Pat, it's big. I mean, I enjoy listening to him and Cole. It makes wrestling fun. And yeah, so I give it a 10, 100%.
So I'm gonna take the opposite side as you here because I love Pat McAfee, but I'm gonna say I'm 5 because I think this was an overreaction to all of the bad publicity. If you listen to what Cole said, he said, I told you, Pat, we're going to have one more run together. This is not a long-term thing. Okay. This is a holdover. I believe there's absolutely no chance Pat McAfee is on wrestling when Monday night, football comes back. There's no chance. He does not make it to net. So this is an off-season endeavor for Pat McAfee. I'm not even positive. I'm going to guess he won't be there the night after the Super Bowl. So already he's going to take that Monday off, and we're going to get Pat on loan through the summer. And I also think I noticed for Pat McAfee, 3 hours is a lot for just your one-liners. He's going to have to catch back up. Now, that's to be expected, right? He probably didn't know he was going to be doing this full time. I am guessing that Michael Cole called in a favor with Pat McAfee. And I'm sure the bag matched the ask here. But it would be a 10. If I absolutely thought that this was long-term, I would be a 10. I'm a 5 because I almost feel like this is one of those situations where they're kind of like, hey guys, be real excited about this, knowing backhandedly that this isn't a long-term plan. This is through the summer. This is probably through WrestleMania a little bit after that, and then Pat goes back or I just don't. Pat's gonna kill himself if you're trying to do game day, trying to cover the NFL, trying to do Monday Night Raw. I just can't see. I'm excited right now. All right, so last news story of the week here, Mike. Has Sami Zayn completely lost all of his main event magic?
Yes. I listen. I don't know that Sami Zayn was ever a main event picture guy.
That's fair.
I think the bloodline situation propelled him and people got excited, but I don't necessarily think that he's a long-term main event guy. And you've seen it. I mean, once they took on the tag team titles, I mean, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's stock just kind of started going here. And, you know, you hate to see it because I think, you know, it was fun with the run that he had. But, I mean, you're not putting a world title on Sami Zayn. I mean, I can't see that. I mean, you could see like a short run, but is he a guy that you're going to have 6 months, 12 months? I don't see that.
No chance. I'm with you 100%. I think Sami Zayn's best look is underdog. And so, like you said, coming out of Bloodline looking like the underdog, it was beautiful. And I even drank the Kool-Aid. There was a time he could be champion. He should be champion. But I'm with you. There's no sustainability in Sami Zayn. The same way I feel about I love R-Truth, and I would love for R-Truth to win a world title, but it's got to be a 3 or 4 week thing. It's got to be transitional. Right. It's got to be get all of the excitement out of the situation, squeeze it dry, and then move on real quickly. And that's, I'm with you on Sami Zayn. I think bringing him back as the surprise in the Royal Rumble at 30 was the worst thing they could have done. He's not that guy. He's the guy you start at number 1, have him go the entire time and tease him winning, but he's just not 30. He doesn't excite me as a number 30. He doesn't excite me. When I saw that the main event last night was Drew versus Sami, I wasn't mad, but I wasn't overly excited. I don't know even what Sami's real intentions are at this point. Because like you said, he's not going to win a world title. If he gets thrown into a triple threat at WrestleMania, it's to fill a spot. It's not realistic. And so, yeah, I'm with you. I like what you said, because I was going to say that he did lose it, but he may have never had it. Yeah. You know, he main evented, what was that? That was Elimination Chamber last year, right? With Roman.
Elimination Chamber.
And that, I think, will be the pinnacle of who Sami Zayn is. I don't think he'll ever reach that level again. He is a great guy to have on the roster, and he reinvents himself well, but I'm with you. I don't think that he ever gets back to that point. All right, Mike, let's finish off the show here with a listener question. It is, what are your guys' prediction for the WrestleMania 40 card? Now, you had mentioned this, and this is a question that comes into our inbox all the time. People love predictions.
Yeah, so I got a couple things here.
So I was able to get to 12 matches, and then I stalled out.
That's more than me, yeah.
You want to go 1 for 1, back and forth, and see how we go?
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, obviously, Cody versus Roman.
That's what I have. So I'm with you on Cody versus Roman.
Yeah.
Then go for it.
I'm sorry.
No, go for it. Go for it. Let you do yours, and I'll jump in with you.
Okay. So then I have Seth, and I have him versing either Drew or Sami.
Okay, which is what I'm hearing, and I'm hearing possibly both.
Okay.
A triple threat.
Yeah. So it's either one of those. I
put Seth versus Randy Orton. Because I don't know what you do with Orton at WrestleMania. And so why not just insert him into CM Punk's spot?
So I have Orton on my card.
Okay. Where do you have Orton?
I have Orton versus Cena.
So if Cena comes back, I love that. But I just don't know how confident I am in Cena coming back.
Okay.
I like that 100%.
Yeah. Bayley versus Io.
I'm same there. I'm with you.
I have Becky and Rhea.
Same there. I'm with you.
I have Logan and LA Knight.
Yes, and I added a caveat to that. I think Logan, Theory, and Waller will begin working together.
Oh, okay.
And so I think that LA Knight will get paired with some kind of celebrity.
Okay.
To just be ringside with him. Yeah, I just want to kind of add that to that match, because they're gonna have, they always have their little celebrity element.
Yeah. All
right, so I'm with you, Logan. We're right in line.
Yeah. So then I have Gunther.
Uh-huh.
And I have him facing either Sheamus or Braun Breaker.
That's exactly what I have right here. I feel the same way. Sheamus is who I want. Braun Breaker is who I feel like would benefit the most from the situation.
The most. Then I have the Judgment Day defending their titles either two ways.
Okay.
I have them straight up against Awesome Truth.
Uh-huh.
Or I have them in a 4-way tag match with Awesome Truth, the DIY, and the Creed Brothers.
I like that. I on my list here, I have Awesome Truth, but I like better. You've got to get more faces on the show, and that's where you do it. That's definitely. Yeah. I could even see the Street Profits or somebody thrown into the mix. Oh, you have. All right. Hit me with it.
So then I have the Final Testament versus the Hurt Business.
Okay, you think that happens at WrestleMania?
I can see it.
Okay,
I can see it. And then I have the Kabuki Warriors. And this is where my Jade thing comes in. I have them going against Jade and Bianca.
So do I. That's exactly what I have right here.
Yeah. And then I have Randy versus Cena.
Okay.
And then Jay versus Jimmy.
Yeah. Let me see. I think you hit everything. Oh, I had. No, we're pretty much in line. I think the only thing I had different was I had Seth Orton, and I just had Sammy versus Drew straight up.
Okay.
Oh, and I had Braun Breaker versus Dirty Dom.
Okay.
But I don't know how that works because they're both. What is Braun? Braun goes back and forth, right?
I think he's going to be SmackDown.
No. I'm talking about heel or babyface.
Oh, man. I think he's like in between right now.
Right?
He
walks that line because he's almost like a likable bad guy, right?
Yeah.
And so right now he's doing something with Baron Corbin, correct? They're tag team or something like that. I haven't watched NXT in a long time.
They got the Dusty thing going right now, and they're a tag team down there. So,
all right. Interestingly enough, we were gonna make that a competition, but I don't know. We can revisit it in a couple of weeks and work it as a competition, but we were right in line, even with some of the things like Sheamus, and I thought I had a clever one with Bianca Belair. I thought I was being smooth there it just works to me. Bianca and Jade works because it gives you the ability to hide Jade.
Right.
And you just build for the next year, and then at next year's WrestleMania, you have them turn on each other. And there's your match.
Yeah. There it is. Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, anything else?
No, man. I'm excited, man. It's WrestleMania season, headed towards it. We're starting to see shades of WrestleMania 32 here with all these injuries, but we'll see if we can make it.
So I'm going to throw this out here. And I know people, they don't love when I do this. I'm still under like a little bit of a belief all these injuries are not real.
I mean, you would hope not.
There's a part of me that believes we got closer to Royal Rumble and CM Punk is not ready. He looked and he goes, I'm not ready. Because I saw a video with him training with Braun Breaker, Trick,
Carmelo.
Yeah. He was training with all those guys and he didn't look ready. He looked stiff. He looked like, and I could see him saying, I can't be put in a situation now where I need to wrestle every week. I need this next 60 days to work out in the shadows. And then he shows up at WrestleMania for Seth Rollins and I could see them playing up Seth Rollins can't have a match. Like, he's too injured. And then we get to WrestleMania and they have a confrontation where it gets physical. And then that match gets put on the card.
Interesting thing. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, keeping him in the storyline and having him do the backstage stuff just leads me to believe that there's a possibility he's not fully as hurt as they make it sound. This has been another episode of the Casual Wrestling Community Show. Make sure to like and subscribe to the video. As always, I am the Notorious NerdyD. That is Milwaukee Mike, and we are out of here.